The viral video exploded across every platform within minutes. A raid caught midstream, blurry footage, shaky angles, muffled shouting. Inside a grimy underground warehouse, young men lay bruised and bloodied around a makeshift fight cage. Jason Statham stood in the center, flanked by a tactical team, staring down the ring's organizer as cuffs clicked into place. Sirens howled in the distance. Someone screamed off camera. The caption read, "Jason Statham shuts down a legal fight club, single-handedly." But not everyone got caught. 2 days later, a second video appeared, this one raw, unedited, and far more personal. Kade. Undefeated. The street legend no one dared to challenge. Shirtless, fists taped, eyes burning. Standing in a dim-lit basement, surrounded by broken equipment and men who looked more gang than gym. "I see you, Statham," he growled, staring into the lens. "You brought the cops and ruined everything. Couldn't face me like a man, huh?" He walked forward until the camera trembled. "You want to shut me down? Then come face me. No refs. No cameras. No backup. Just fists. I fight where rules don't matter. Where fear decides who stands." The internet lit up. Comments flooded in. Memes. Challenges. Everyone wanted to see if Jason would respond. He did not post. He did not tweet. He sat in a dark room, alone, the video playing on loop. His face unreadable. His breathing slow. Then he closed the laptop, stood, grabbed his jacket from the chair, and walked out the door. No words spoken. But the fight had already begun. Before we proceed, like and subscribe to catch Jason Statham's epic face-off with Unbeaten Street Fighter, and comment where you're watching from today. The underground ring was not built for sport, it was built for blood. Located in a condemned warehouse just outside the city's industrial zone, the arena was nothing more than a caged floor surrounded by flickering work lights, rusted scaffolding, and folding chairs stained with sweat, spit, and darker things. There were no medics. No rules. Just bets placed in cash, fights streamed on burner phones, and a crowd thirsty for damage. Fighters were recruited from the streets, runaways, ex-cons, addicts, men with nothing left to lose and everything to prove. Every punch was a paycheck. Every knockout was one more week alive. Jason had spent months working his way into it. He posed as a manager for an up-and-coming brawler, watched quietly, asked questions no one noticed. He memorized faces, routines, payoffs, escape routes. When the night finally came, he tipped off the right people, and when the doors blew open, he made sure no one walked out untouched. But not all were caught. Jason's mission had never been about glory. It was about stopping the machine that chewed up vulnerable young men and spat out what was left. The so-called ringmasters made money from suffering, turning fear into profit while pretending it was sport. Jason had seen enough war to recognize exploitation when he saw it. This was not fighting. It was feeding. One fighter in particular had become the face of that brutality. Kade. 6'2". Lean fast, built like a jungle cat. Undefeated. No technique, just instinct and rage. He never trained. He just showed up and destroyed whoever was thrown in front of him. He had a grin that split his face and a stare that made men forget how to breathe. His knockouts were legend. But no one knew where he came from, or where he went. Until now. Jason knew shutting down the ring would only start something worse. Because men like Kade do not disappear quietly. They hunt. The video hit social media like a live grenade. Shot in low light, handheld, shaky, just enough chaos to feel real. Kade stood in the middle of a busted-down gym, shirtless, bruised from recent underground scraps. Broken lockers behind him. Steel chains hanging from ceiling beams. A dented heavy bag swung in the corner like it was trying to leave the room. He grabbed a folding chair and hurled it across the floor. It clanged hard and fell, legs twisted. Then he stepped into frame, eyes locked on the lens. "You think this is over, Statham?" he growled. "You call that justice, bringing cops into a fight? You want to shut down my world with sirens and paperwork? You didn't beat me. You ran." He stepped closer, face inches from the lens. I'm still standing. And I'm waiting. No rules. No refs. No scripts. Just you and me, man to man. He stared at the camera in silence for 5 seconds. Then cut to black. The internet exploded. Clips of Kade's rant hit every platform within hours. Fight pages reposted it. Reaction videos. Remixes. TikToks layered with aggressive music and flame emojis. Comments flooded in by the thousands. He's calling out Jason Statham? No way, Jason answers. This is gonna be legendary if it's real. At real Statham, you gonna take that? But Jason posted nothing. No denial. No trash talk. No reaction. He sat alone in a dim room, watching the video once more. His expression unreadable. His eyes locked on the screen, jaw still. Then he reached for the duffel bag near the door. Inside, wraps, gloves, boots. He zipped it up, stood, and slung it over his shoulder. A slow exhale escaped his chest as he opened the door. And stepped into the night. Not for applause. Not for clout. Just for closure. The rain did not fall. It drilled. Thin, relentless needles slicing through the night air, soaking rusted rooftops and broken pavement. Puddles formed in jagged cracks outside the abandoned warehouse, their surfaces shattered with every droplet. Wind howled through bent steel beams, carrying the ghost of something long forgotten. Inside, the air was colder. Staler. The warehouse stretched wide and empty, stripped bare long ago. Concrete floor, oil-stained and cracked. Metal chains dangled from ceiling hooks, swaying gently, clinking like distant wind chimes. One overhead light buzzed in the corner, blinking sporadically, throwing shadows that stretched and twitched like they were alive. This was not a venue. It was a tomb. And Kade paced in its center like a beast waiting to be fed. Shirtless. Boots untied. Sweat already glistening across his scarred torso. His breath steamed in the air. He moved in sharp bursts, quick combos into the cold air, checking his footwork, throwing a low kick at an invisible opponent. He was loose, but dangerous. Restless. His crew leaned against the walls, watching in silence. The mood was not celebratory, it was tense. Kade had staked his pride on this moment. His undefeated name. His myth. But the longer the silence stretched, the more the myth began to sweat. "He's not coming," one man muttered, pulling his hood up. "He's smart. You're wasting time." Kade ignored him. Instead, he stopped pacing, squared up toward the entrance, and shouted into the echoing dark. "Statham! You too scared to show without a badge behind you." Only wind answered, until a figure stepped through it. No headlights. No sound. Just a silhouette walking forward, steady, unrushed, drenched in rain. A black jacket clung to his frame. His hood low. His hands empty. Jason entered the warehouse like he had walked into worse places 1,000 times before. He did not look around. He did not speak. He stopped just 10 feet from Kade, lifted his head, and met his eyes. Something changed in the air. The crew straightened. Kade's smile twitched. Jason took one slow step forward. No words. Because this was never going to be a conversation. It was already a verdict. Kade struck first, like a bullet leaving the chamber. A blur of motion, he closed the distance with a sharp left hook that snapped across Jason's jaw, followed instantly by a right cross that staggered him backward. The impact echoed through the hollow warehouse like a gunshot. Jason's boots scraped the wet concrete as he caught himself against gravity. Kade did not let up. He surged forward, fists flying in ruthless bursts. Left, right, left again, then a driving elbow to the ribs that forced air from Jason's lungs. Jason grunted, trying to reset his footing, but Kade was already pivoting behind him, swinging a roundhouse kick that caught Jason in the back of the shoulder. Jason dropped to a knee. The crew shouted from the sidelines. One of them banged on a nearby pipe. "This is what you asked for." Kade stepped in, smirking, breathing hard but fueled by momentum. "You're not built for this, Statham. he hissed. "This ain't a film set." He faked high, then launched a front kick to Jason's chest. It landed hard. Jason stumbled back into a support beam with a grunt. His breath hitched. His ribs burned. His vision blurred for half a second. And Kade could feel it. The advantage. The rhythm. The dominance. He bounced lightly on his feet now, grinning. His strikes came looser, more arrogant. Sharp jabs to Jason's stomach, a slap across the face just to humiliate. Jason absorbed it all, jaw tight, eyes locked on Kade's chest, not the fists. Not yet reacting. Just watching. Just waiting. Jason stepped sideways, circling now, not backing down, but remeasuring. He had felt Kade's speed, his force, and more importantly, his pattern. Kade fought like a predator. Fast, overwhelming, but reckless once in control. Jason's ribs ached, jaw sore, but his mind had sharpened. Kade came in again with a wild hook. This time, Jason ducked low. His shoulder slammed into Kade's midsection, driving him back into a stack of rusted metal crates. They clattered, throwing off Kade's balance. Before he could fully recover, Jason struck, elbow to the sternum. A precise shot. Clean. Measured. Kade grunted, staggered. Jason pressed forward, using the environment, angled him toward a beam, then redirected a missed punch so Kade's fist cracked against steel. He yelped, shaking his hand out. Jason followed up with 2 tight punches, one to the ribs, one just above the kidney. Pressure points. Kade winced, suddenly slower. Jason's breathing steadied now. He was not trying to outpace Kade. He was dismantling him, bit by bit. He caught Kade's next jab on his forearm and immediately stepped in with a low knee, deep into the thigh. The impact deadened the leg. Kade stumbled, his foot dragging slightly as he reset. The confidence on his face faltered. Jason's eyes didn't change. He just tilted his head, reset his stance. Kade blinked hard. For the first time, he felt it. Jason was not recovering. He was evolving. Kade charged again, anger replacing calculation. He threw a wild overhand right, teeth bared, but Jason slipped just left, letting it sail past his cheek. Then he struck. A short, compact body shot, low and brutal, drove into Kade's liver with the precision of a piston. Kade's breath caught mid-swing. His feet slowed. His face twisted in sudden pain. Jason pivoted. His leg swept low, hooking around Kade's ankle. In one motion, he yanked hard and spun his weight. Kade's legs flew out from under him. His body hit the concrete with a sickening thud, rattling the rusted crates nearby. Jason was already on him. He grabbed the dazed fighter by the collar, lifted just enough, and drove his elbow straight down into Kade's chest, clean and explosive. The air ripped from Kade's lungs with a single choking gasp. Kade flailed, tried to stand, but Jason was done waiting. He stepped back, measured the distance with a cold glance, and twisted into a final blow. A full-body right hook. Tight, fast, final. His fist crashed into Kade's jaw with a crack that silenced the entire warehouse. Kade's body spun, twisted, and collapsed. Unmoving. Jason stood over him, breathing hard, bruised, blood at the corner of his mouth. But calm. He stared down at the man who had begged for this moment, and left him in it, alone. Jason stood still, breath sharp but steady. His chest rose and fell beneath the damp black jacket, every inhale cutting through pain. Blood dripped from his lip. One eye was already swelling. But his posture did not falter. No gloating. No words. Just presence. Kade lay sprawled in the same warehouse he had once ruled. The same floor he had sent dozens of men crashing to, now holding him in silence. His head tilted to the side, eyes shut, jaw slack. His reign ended not with a scream, but with a stillness no one had ever seen from him. Jason glanced around the room, only once. Kade's crew stood frozen near the walls, half in shadow, unsure if they should run or speak. One of them looked at Kade, then at Jason, and said nothing. No one moved. No one dared. They had witnessed something final. Jason lowered his gaze, then turned. Boots soft on concrete, he walked past the empty crates and broken chains, past the flickering light, back toward the shattered warehouse doors. Rain greeted him like it never stopped. He stepped into it without hesitation. No cameras. No applause. No threat left standing. Just a quiet man walking back into the storm, as if it had never happened. Because men like Jason do not fight for attention. They fight to finish it. Strength is not shown in who hits first, it is shown in who walks away last, with restraint intact. Real fighters do not crave attention or chaos. They do not rise to every insult. They wait. They calculate. And when the moment finally calls, they act, not for ego, but for something bigger. Jason Statham did not fight to win. He fought to end something poisonous. He ended it quietly. He left no speech, no message. But the world understood it anyway. Loud men fight for cameras. Quiet men fight for peace, and leave when the noise begins.